Before we begin this story, drop your city or country in the comments. Let's see how far this message travels. Because what you're about to hear isn't just shocking, it's unforgettable. This is the story of a girl no one noticed, a girl everyone underestimated. They called her shy. They called her strange. But what they didn't know was that she carried a strength they couldn't imagine. One cruel afternoon would change everything. For her, for them, and for everyone watching. Stay until the end. The quiet girl you ignored. She's about to become the one no one can ever forget. Her name was Emma. The girl who walked with her head down, headphones on, always sitting in the corner of the classroom. She never spoke unless spoken to. Her eyes always on her notebook, her voice barely above a whisper. Every morning felt like walking into a storm she didn't cause. Whispers, laughter, and the constant reminder that she didn't fit in. Her oversized sweater wasn't a style choice. It was armor. It kept her hidden, safe from judgment and shame. Teachers called her sweet but distant. Classmates called her weird. No one ever asked why she avoided attention. They just assumed she was fragile. But under that quiet shell lived a mind always alert, and a heart that had already seen too much pain to break easily. At Ridgeview High, power was popularity, and kindness was weakness. The halls echoed with gossip and cruelty, and the same few students ruled the place like a stage. They picked targets for sport, the quiet, the different, the ones who wouldn't fight back. Emma was their favorite. The boys snickered when she passed. The girls whispered just loud enough for her to hear. No one defended her, not even the teachers who pretended not to notice. The laughter bounced off lockers and walls, following her like a shadow. But Emma never reacted. Every smirk, every cruel comment, she swallowed them like bitter medicine. The tension built with every passing day, and though no one saw it, something deep inside her was slowly waking up. What her classmates never knew was that Emma's silence wasn't weakness. It was discipline. Since childhood, her father had trained her in martial arts. Not for competition, but for control. Never start a fight, he'd say, but never let one break you. Every night after homework, she practiced in her garage. Strikes, balance, focus. It wasn't about violence. It was about peace through power. Her body learned patience. Her mind learned calm. And for years, she carried that strength quietly, never needing to use it. Until the day came when she'd have no choice. The whispers would turn to shoves, the laughter to cruelty. And the girl everyone thought was breakable would show them what unbreakable truly looks like. It was supposed to be a fun day, the school's annual sports event. Music echoed from the loudspeakers, students filled the field, and phones captured every moment. Emma stayed near the bleachers away from the crowd, pretending to scroll on her phone. The sun was bright, the laughter louder. For a while, she thought she might actually make it through unnoticed. But then came them, the group that never missed a chance to make someone else miserable. The so-called popular kids led by Amber, the volleyball captain with a cruel smile. They spotted Emma standing alone, her hoodie pulled tight, and that was all it took. Their whispers turned to laughter, their laughter to taunts. One pointed, another smirked. They began walking toward her, slow, deliberate. And even before they reached her, Emma felt the danger coming. "Nice outfit, Emma," one of them sneered. Trying to hide that thrift store fashion again. The others laughed, circling her like vultures. Amber stepped closer, pretending concern. "Why so quiet? Oh, right. You always are." Emma didn't answer. Her fingers trembled slightly around her phone. Then, without warning, Amber grabbed the back of her hoodie. Another bully yanked her sleeve. Before she could react, a harsh rip cut through the air. Her top tore open, fabric falling to the ground. For a second, the world froze. Then came the laughter, cruel, endless. Phones rose high. Flashes blinded her. No one stepped in. No teacher, no friend. Just the noise, the shame, the heat of humiliation. But under the silence of her still body was something sharper than pain. Calm. Deep, steady, terrifying calm. They didn't know what she could do. Emma bent down slowly, picked up her torn hoodie, and tied it around herself. The crowd kept laughing, but their voices were fading. Or maybe her mind was tuning them out. She inhaled once, then again. Her breathing evened. Her shoulders relaxed. Every move was measured, quiet, controlled. The bullies thought she was about to cry. They were wrong. She looked up, her eyes meeting Amber's. No tears, just focus. Around them, the laughter started to die. The air thickened with tension. No one understood why, but something about her calm made even the boldest kids hesitate. Emma took a single step forward. The sound of her foot on the grass was louder than all their noise. The storm had arrived, and none of them saw it coming. "Relax, we're just joking," one boy said, stepping closer, pushing her shoulder. He didn't finish his sentence. In a flash, Emma turned, redirecting his arm, and he stumbled to the ground, breath knocked out. Gasps cut through the silence. Another rushed in. She sidestepped, using his momentum to send him spinning. A third tried to grab her. His hand met her wrist, and in one precise move, he was down too. It wasn't rage that powered her. It was clarity. She wasn't attacking. She was defending. Every motion was deliberate, controlled. The crowd that once laughed now stared, frozen. Even Amber, still clutching a phone, couldn't move. Emma stood tall, breathing steady, eyes calm. The same girl they mocked now stood like someone carved from strength itself. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. The silence said it all. Never mistake quiet for weakness. For a moment, no one moved. The laughter died, replaced by stunned silence. Phones slipped from trembling hands. Teachers ran toward the scene but stopped halfway, frozen in disbelief. The bullies lay scattered across the grass, groaning but unharmed beyond bruised pride. Emma stood in the center, calm, composed, her hair slightly messy, her eyes steady. She didn't gloat, didn't shout. She simply turned, tied her hoodie tighter, and walked away through the crowd that parted for her like water. Every step she took carried the weight of dignity. The same students who mocked her now watched in awe. Fear had turned into respect. The quiet girl they ignored had just rewritten her story in silence. By the next morning, the story had spread like wildfire. Some students deleted their videos, ashamed of what they'd captured. Others posted them online where millions would soon watch. The teachers tried to keep control, but the truth couldn't be hidden. Parents flooded the school with calls demanding answers. The administration scrambled for statements and excuses. Meanwhile, the bullies stayed home, nursing their wounds and reputations. Emma walked the halls quietly, the same way she always did, only now, no one dared whisper. For the first time, her silence wasn't seen as weakness. It was power. The world had watched her humiliation and her courage, and suddenly she wasn't invisible anymore. She was unforgettable. Within hours, the video hit every platform. "Shy Girl Fights Back" trended across social media. Some viewers called her a hero, others debated if she went too far. Talk shows, podcasts, and even school boards weighed in. Experts spoke about bullying, race, and the power of silence. Influencers replayed her calm expression, frame by frame. The school launched an investigation, but there was no denying what the footage showed. A girl defending herself against cruelty. The narrative shifted fast. Emma's face, once hidden behind a hoodie, now symbolized quiet strength. She hadn't wanted fame, only peace. Yet her story was now part of a much larger conversation about courage, respect, and the cost of staying silent too long. Days turned to weeks, and support poured in from everywhere. Messages from strangers, teachers, even martial arts trainers who admired her restraint. News outlets covered the story with headlines about dignity and discipline. The bullies were expelled after the investigation, and the school promised reforms. Emma never celebrated. She just returned to her normal routine, quieter than ever but free. Reporters tried to interview her, but she politely declined. She didn't want attention. She wanted change, and quietly she got it. Her story became a lesson taught in assemblies and classrooms, because in the end, truth doesn't need to shout. It just needs to stand tall long enough to be seen. What happened that day wasn't just about self-defense. It was about dignity, the kind that can't be stolen or shamed. Emma's story reminded everyone that kindness isn't weakness and silence isn't surrender. It made people think twice before judging someone by how little they speak. For every quiet student in every crowded hallway, it became a whisper of hope. You don't have to fight to be strong, but you do have to stand for yourself when no one else will. It was never about revenge. It was about reclaiming respect and showing that even the softest voice can echo the loudest when the world finally listens. So, where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments, because stories like this happen everywhere. In schools, in streets, in silence. If Emma's story moved you, share it, talk about it, and stand up when you see someone being torn down. Remember, power isn't always loud. Sometimes it's found in calm eyes and steady hands that refuse to give in. This isn't just one girl's story. It's a message for all of us. Stay kind, stay aware, and never underestimate.